Hello, everyone, and welcome to a 3-month delayed chapter of Sontails' Dreams Come True. Now, I'm sorry that my last video was all the way back in April, but I've just been really busy, and honestly, I kind of forgot I was doing read-throughs. Sorry. But right now, the story's been done, it's been finished. It's been it's been done for a long time now. It My last update, which was the author's note that came at the end of the final chapter, was finished all the way back in May. So for those of you who haven't read it and are just waiting for the read-throughs, go read it. It's all done. The whole thing finished. My thoughts about it and everything are also put up there. If you like it, please leave a review to tell me what you think. Maybe favorite it, whatever. I don't mind. But anyway, just saying that it's all out there. Currently, I'm working on the sequel to Sonic High called Sonic High Emerald Lake, which is basically a new campus, a bunch of new characters. I think my main cast is at 30 at the moment. It's about to be 31. Every chapter's like 10,000 words long. I'm up to chapter 15 of the sequel. The original had 16, so 31 chapters in total. It's a lot of words. But if you like drama and if you like a bunch of characters working off each other, go give it a read and let me know what you think. Also, I did a murder mystery horror slash fic type thing called Murder on Green Hill Island, also over on my fanfic account. That's got 9 chapters. That's all done. That started back in April. It's already finished. That's out of the way. It's not that long. It's only about 40,000 words in total. So go give that a check out. I'm going to mute my phone so that doesn't happen again. So anyway, enough of my rambling. Let's get on with Chapter 15 of Sontails' Dreams Come True. Chapter 15, The Stake. Sonic stopped beside the flower bed, sniffing in the sweet scent of the new spring air. Collections of violet tulips, yellow dandelions, pink lilies, and white daisies. He leant down, placing his hand over one of the rose bushes that lined the streets. He pinched his thumb and forefinger together around one of the spiked stems, being careful to avoid the pointed thorns that protruded out of the stem, and plucked it. He brought the black, brightly coloured rose up to his nose, pushing his black appendage up against the rose and sniffed deeply, exhaling calmly afterwards. For Sonic, although he loved to run at breakneck paces, he also enjoyed relaxing and taking in the scent of the newly bloomed flowers. "Sonic!" a voice called out from afar, getting progressively louder as the pink figure came closer and closer. "Oh, hey, Ames, what's up?" Sonic asked, waving his hand at her as he continued to walk, hoping she would get the hint that he didn't want to be disturbed. "Did you pick that flower for me?" she asked, fluttering her eyelashes at him as she wrapped her hands around his middle and pulled him in for a close hug. However, something about his hug was different, more sensual. It wasn't the normal, friendlier hug that she gave him. "Whoa, what are you doing?" Sonic asked, pushing her off him. "What do you mean? Your girlfriend should be able to do much more than hug you," she chuckled lightly. Sonic's eyes narrowed slightly as the palm of his hand was brought up to his forehead. "If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. I am not, and I will never be your boyfriend, so just stop, Ames," Sonic shouted, raising his hands high into the sky to symbolize his annoyance at her. Amy put on a fake pout and turned, hiding the smirk that crossed her face. "Yeah, you're already taken, aren't you?" Amy asked, holding back her laughter at her brilliant plan. No, I'm not. I'm just not looking for a relationship at the moment," Sonic replied calmly. "You might not be looking for one, but your tongue certainly has been adventurous." Amy turned, narrowing her eyes to stare into his, looking for any sign of fear or weakness. Still, her hints at his secret went straight over his head. "Amy, there is no girl in my life at the moment. That's not the reason I don't want to be with you. I'm just not looking for anyone," he said exasperatedly, getting frustrated by her persistence. "I know." "Good," Sonic stated plainly, turning and walking off in the opposite direction. "Wait, one last question." "What is it now?" "How does the inside of Tails' mouth taste?" Sonic stopped in his tracks, arms rigid by his sides. "Did you think I didn't know about that? You're sick!" She spat at him. Sonic dared to turn around, looking at her in the face. All the colour drained from his face and was replaced with a ghastly pale shade of white. It was almost as if a phantom had stolen the life right out of him. One look into Amy's eyes told him that she was serious, and somehow she knew about their relationship. "Please, Amy, I'm begging you not to tell anybody," Sonic pleaded, falling to his knees and pressing his hands together, praying to her. "Okay, if you go on a date with me tonight," Amy stated. "Okay, you win," Sonic slumped his head down, admitting defeat. Just don't tell anyone about this, please, and please don't tell Tails you know about this. He shouldn't have to worry about any of this." "Cute, it's like you care about him or something." "Don't worry, Sonic, I won't tell anybody, except Blaze, since she was the one who found out first. What else are girlfriends for? See you tonight," she giggled, rushing off before he could say anything else. "Blaze? I thought we were friends," Sonic sighed, tears running down his cheeks as depression and pessimism filled his insides. It was as if his whole world was caving in around him. "How could you do this to me?" Sonic screamed, smashing his fist against the hardwood door, anger flowing through him, fueling the flames inside of him. Blaze opened the door, clearly startled by this sudden outburst, and calmly invited him in, trying to calm her friend. "Calm down, Sonic. Tell me, what happened?" she began. "I thought you and Tails were inseparable. I thought we were friends too," he stammered, tripping over his words in angst and fury. "We are? What is this all about?" "You told Amy about me and Tails," he shouted, punching the drywall. Unfortunately, he was far too strong for the flimsy construction, and his fist went straight through the drywall, causing a shower of dust and debris to shower over him, covering him and turning his fur into a creamy colour. I didn't mean to," Blaze admitted, sadness gripping with fear for this display she was witnessing washing over her. "Well, you ruined both of our lives," he berated her further, pulling his hand from the wall as more of the plaster broke away and smashed onto the hardwood floor. That was the metaphorical straw that broke the camel's back. Blaze stood up straight, walked over to Sonic and began to yell at him. "I ruined your life? I did not! Your disgusting urges and gross, unnatural brain screwed up your life." The static bias and hatred that had been instilled within her, not just her, but all the people in the Southern Mobian community since a young age, had been unearthed and reignited by the sudden outburst by Sonic. "How could you say that to me? We're friends." "Are we? You just came in here yelling at me. I didn't screw you up. You should have just liked girls, like a normal person," she screamed, covering her mouth with her hands as she said that, realizing what a horrible person she was. This wasn't her. She didn't really believe that. Did she? "I see how it is," Sonic sighed, allowing the depression to sink in again, drowning out his anger and extinguishing the flames inside of him. "I'll just go now. I have to get ready for a date with Amy that she is bribing me with. See you round." "Sonic, wait!" Blaze sighed, rushing up to grab his hand before he was able to leave the room. I'm sorry. I don't think you're weird. I just don't know if I can ignore this. I don't know if I can be supportive of you and Tails. You were two of my closest friends, but suddenly this bombshell was just dropped on me out of nowhere. Part of me thinks it's wrong, while the other half wants to support my friends no matter who they love." Sonic said nothing. He just turned around and gave Blaze a big hug. "Thanks." The word managed to escape his lips, barely audible. "Just please, don't tell Tails anybody knows. I'll just keep Amy happy with whatever she wants, so she doesn't tell anybody our secret. He shouldn't have to worry." You really love him, don't you?" Blaze sighed. Sonic couldn't bring himself to speak anymore, realizing that he couldn't uproot the brainwashing that all children had gone through during primary school. He just nodded before closing the door behind him and running through the empty streets before Blaze had anything further to say. "What did I do?" she cried. The moon was still low in the sky as Sonic approached the quaint little red brick restaurant. Circular tables with two metallic chairs sitting on opposite sides facing each other dotted the sidewalk adjacent to the restaurant. The lights glowed warmly, inviting the sapphire hedgehog into the room. "Sonic, over here!" Amy squealed, her high-pitched screaming echoing through the place, causing the glassware to rumble, nearing the verge of shattering apart into thousands of tiny pieces. Sonic shuddered. The squeal vibrating through his body, tensing his muscles and droning against his spine. He felt like he wanted to vomit, but he knew he just needed to toughen out the night so Amy would back off. "Take a seat!" she giggled, pointing to the chair opposite her. Sonic sat down and buried his face into a menu before Amy could say anything else. She coughed loudly into her hand, trying to get the hedgehog's attention, but when he clearly refused to even acknowledge her, she decided to speak up. "Aren't you going to tell me that I look pretty?" Amy questioned, signaling to her new jet black dress with rose-red straps. What? Oh yeah, Ames, you look good. Sonic brushed her off, continuing to pretend to be completely immersed into the wondrous variety of dishes that were presented with frilly fronts on his menu. You don't seem quite yourself today, she said, pretending to sound like she cared, when really she just wanted him to pay attention to her. Something on your mind? You know exactly what's wrong. Don't play this game with me. Sonic slapped down the menu onto the table, staring daggers at her. Baby, you seem tense. Oh, I know. Let's ditch this place. There is something that I need to show you that will perk you up right away. Before Sonic had a chance to respond, Amy was already on her feet and rushing out of the restaurant, beckoning him to follow her. The two walked in silence, Sonic following in step with Amy until they noticed a faint glow in the distance, growing steadily bigger. We're almost there, Amy cheered. As his eyes began to adjust to the new light, he could see the silhouettes of hundreds, if not thousands of people crowding around, holding what appeared to be torches. Hey, Ames, what's this? It's like the whole community is here. Amy laughed without saying a word, as she continued on her own path. Sonic noticed that they were heading to the northern border. Curiosity took over as he sped up his pace, rushing ahead of Amy until he reached the back of the crowd. Oh, hey Sonic, do you know what this is about? Tails asked him, running up to him when he spotted his cobalt fur across the crowd. Blaze and Silver joined him after, and Silver greeted the hedgehog with a high five, but Blaze looked away, not bringing herself to look at Sonic after the fight the previous afternoon. Now that everybody is here, let the festivities begin! Amy snickered, pushing her way through the crowd, followed by the rest of them. She stopped at the front of the crowd, waving Shadow over to join the group when he spotted them. This is going to be good. They deserve what they have coming to them. He laughed deeply. Sonic and Tails swiveled their heads around, searching for the reason that the community was gathered. That's when they saw the mayor, leading two green hedgehogs. One small, with crazy hair that looked like a jumbled mess of lanky spider legs protruding from the top of his head, and the other, the school bully who used to torment Sonic, Amy, Tails, Blaze, Silver, Knuckles, Tikal, especially Cream, and even Shadow on occasions. Scourge and Manic? Tails questioned, looking to Amy and Shadow, who had big grins on their faces. He turned to ask Blaze what was going on, but she looked sickly green, as if she was about to throw up, so he decided to just leave her alone and watch what was happening. These two were discovered in the middle of... The mayor paused. Heinous acts together this afternoon, and as such, are banished over the border. You all know the rules about same-sex relations. They are forever banished from our corner of heaven. But Mayor, it's suicide crossing the border. You know we'll be killed on sight, Manic begged, falling down on his knees and hugging his knees. Get off me, you disgusting excuse for a Mobian. She slapped his hand away, applying hand soap to the place of her leg in which he touched. Mom? Dad? Scourge looked to his parents, who turned their noses up at him in disgust. You're no son of mine, his dad scoffed, pushing him along towards the border. Wait! A voice called out from behind. Big, the large purple cat, rushed through the crowd and took the stage. My friends, this isn't the way. You were the one who taught us that this was wrong in the eyes of our Lord Chaos, a bystander called out from the crowd. Exactly. Banishing them is letting them off far too easy. They must burn at the stake, he bellowed, opening his arms and puffing out his chest, staring evilly into their eyes. An eruption of cheers echoed through the crowd. Woo! Yeah! As they raised their torches in the air. Big waved his hands, and two men dressed in white robes walked through the now parted crowd, carrying two large stakes, and positioned them into the ground. Following them were a group of young children, each carrying a log of wood, and threw them at the bottom. Big, along with the mayor and a couple other members of the crowd, including Vector, seized the two males and tied them tightly to the stakes with rope. Now they will be cleansed, Big shouted, signaling his arms outward. On his command, all the torches were thrown at the two, landing on the piles of logs. Slowly, the wood caught fire, and in a few seconds flat, a wildfire grew, engulfing the whole area. Manic, I love you, Scourge shouted. Don't be scared. I love you too, Scourge, Manic yelled, holding his hand as they both closed their eyes and waited for the inevitable. A cloud of dark, thick smoke drifted up from the pile, obscuring the view of the two. The only indication that they were still alive were the agonizing screams of the two, so loud and filled with pain that they basically drowned out the cheering of the community. Sonic and Tails looked around in horror at their friends, family, and members of their own community cheering, turning into savages as two of their classmates were being burnt alive in front of them all. It was too much for them. The screams of the two hedgehogs would haunt their nightmares forever. Tails and Sonic turned and sprinted out of the crowd, refusing to look back as they escaped into the night, trying to find solace back in their warm beds. Amy watched them leave, a gigantic smile taking up most of her face as she laughed triumphantly. Meanwhile, Blaze stood behind her, a frown that would rival the size of Amy's smirk plastered across her own face. The two girls watched the boys slowly disappear over the horizon as the smoke rose further and further into the sky, engulfing the view of the ravenous crowd, gaining size with the flames. The screams continued to echo through the sky, terrifying even the furthest of twinkling stars. Well, there we have it. Chapter 15. Sorry about the 3-month delay. I know, unprofessional, but fuck it? Nah. But yeah, that was chapter 15. Please let me know what you thought